What's up, everybody? I'm David Hain. Welcome to episode 118 of the A to D from Addict to Disciple podcast. I appreciate you listening. Please like, subscribe, follow, and share the link with your friends or click on the support link in this episode's description. Your donation of any amount could change a life. If you'd like to get our curriculum, you can get the paperback or ebook of From Ashes to Destiny on Amazon. When we come back, we'll get into this episode entitled Simplicity in Recovery. Welcome back to episode 118 of the A to D from Addict to Disciple podcast entitled Simplicity in Recovery. So many times I work with guys early in their recovery who want to recover everything they lost in their addiction today, like this week. They can't wait to get back everything they've lost. And one of the hardest tasks I have to counsel them on is to focus on what is possible today, what's right in front of them, what's tangible, what's doable, and what's really in their control and not dependent on other people. And this reminds me, as we start out today's episode on simplicity in recovery, of the Rolling Stones song, You Can't Always Get What You Want. And here's the chorus from that. It says, you can't always get what you want. You can't always get what you want. You can't always get what you want. But if you try sometimes, well, you might find you get what you need. Can you hear that? And that's part of what I was saying in the introduction. It's really focusing on what do you really need today? What do you really need to get through this week, this month? And how can you keep it simple, smart, not keep it simple, stupid? How can you keep it smart and get simplicity in recovery? Well, Lao Tzu has a couple of great quotes, and I just want to share the first one with you here. It says, I have just three things to teach: simplicity, patience, compassion. These three are your greatest treasures. Shaw. Can you hear that? Your three greatest treasures are simplicity, patience, and compassion. What if you focused on those early in your recovery? I believe as you focus on the simplicity of recovery, it's vital to practice patience in every area of your life and to develop compassion for others. Compassion for the people from your past that may have been victims of your addiction, and compassion for those around you today. Well, people often ask me, but David, how do I just fix things from the past? I want to get on that right now. I want to restore things. I want to rebuild the bridges. And you know what? These are things that require patience on your part. There's an old proverb from Greece that says, 1 minute of patience, 10 years of peace. And I work with guys so often to say, protect your peace. So one of the great things to do to start protecting your peace is practice that 1 minute of patience when you find yourself eager to restore something that's not doable today. And there's another unknown quote that I like, which says, patience is not the ability to wait, but the ability to keep a good attitude while waiting. Can you get to that point in patience where you have a good attitude no matter how long it takes to restore what you're hoping to restore? Okay, the second treasure from Lao Tzu was compassion. And according to Psychology Today, compassion is an empathetic understanding of a person's feelings. And it's accompanied by altruism, or a desire to act on that person's behalf. So, put simply, compassion is when you relate to someone's situation and you want to help them You're not focused on what it gets for you. You see someone in trouble and you feel like pitching in. So can you take those two aspects, patience of compassion, and leave those as a foundation to your simplicity in recovery? You see, simplicity is living a life that's less hectic. And when you understand simplicity, you begin to have an appreciation for the things that you may not have noticed in the past. The little things in life become the big things because they create some of your biggest joys. American author and blogger Leo Babauta said, and I quote, "Simplicity boils down to two steps: identify the essential and eliminate the rest." Wow. Can you hear that? Identify the essential and eliminate the rest. So imagine if you just removed the things of the rest and put them in the patience category on the back burner, and you identified the things that are essential for today. How simple this phase of your recovery would be. Confucius is quoted as saying, "Life is really simple, but we insist on making it complicated." So I want to ask you, what are the areas that you are keeping complicated because you're trying to fix them on your own right now, today, and you can't wait? I want to challenge you. Can you move them to the back burner of your focus as you focus on the simple things now, on patience and on compassion? Confucius also advised us, and I quote, "Keep it simple and focus on what matters. Don't let yourself be overwhelmed." And I want to ask you, how many of you have felt overwhelmed in your recovery because you can't get the things that you want? You can't always get what you want today. So write down the things that overwhelm your thought life and steal your peace from you. Talk to other people about them to see if you're really focused on the right things. And be open to shifting your focus to what really matters and what you can truly control, to the simple things. And I'd like to give you a list of 5 simple and 5 complicated or complex things so that you can analyze which ones are you really focusing on and how to just sort of do what Confucius said and to be able to not be overwhelmed by the complicated, and to do what Leo Babauta said and eliminate those complicated things. So first, some simple things. Number 1, focus on yourself and hold on to a solid idea of who you are. Can you spend time today and this week identifying who you are and focusing on yourself and enriching who you really are? Number 2, can you focus on what's most important? Things like peace, your readiness to change, and your hope for the future. Not for the change in the future, but your hope. And focus on not having your hope eroded by being impatient. Number 3, another simple thing is just staying positive. What can you do today to stay positive and to release and remove negativity from your life? Number 4, find a program, a curriculum, or a regular group meeting to participate in, and participate in it. Don't just go along for the ride. Don't just show up to say you did it, but participate actively in it and focus on the simple truths that are in that group and in that curriculum. Number 5, I'll use the motto or the slogan of AA, keep it simple. And it's meant to remind all of us to utilize what you're learning, not to analyze it. So avoid speculation and embellishment and critical analysis and judgment. Simply focus on how can you utilize what you're learning and accept that that might work. What are some of the complex things or the complicated things that may be undermining you in your recovery? The biggest one in the first category I say is restoring relationships. I've seen too many guys get caught in depression and despondence because they haven't been able to restore relationships that they lost in their recovery or in their addiction, and they want them back now in their recovery. So I'd say eliminate that as a priority for now. Number 2, it's complicated when you try to focus on undoing the past hurts. We can't make up for the hurts we've done. We can't make up for the lost time. We can't make up for when we weren't there, being the person that others wanted us to be in their life. And we can't assume that by having 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, a year clean, that makes up for the past hurts. Number 3, it's very complex and complicated when you focus on regaining financial stability too quickly. You've been in a time where finances were not really an important issue to you. As long as you could get what you needed for today, that's all you were focused on. And so regaining financial stability overnight is not going to happen. The 4th complex and complicated thing I say are our emotions. Things like anxiety, stress, cravings, loneliness, boredom, depression. And we get caught up in focusing on them and saying, how do I get rid of this? How do I get rid of this? How do I get rid of this stress? How do I get rid of this depression? How do I get rid of this anxiety? How do I get rid of this loneliness? Instead of slowing down and getting to the simplicity part and say, what am I doing that's increasing all of those negative emotions? And number 5 on the complex list, our lifestyle of instant gratification tends to keep us looking for shortcuts in our recovery. So I want to urge you to find the patience to trust the long view. In closing, I'd like to remind us of a Chinese proverb that says, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. So the journey of the 1,000 miles of your recovery, of restoring all those things we talked about, begins with one step, one simple step. Are you ready to shift your focus to those simple steps for today? The steps that you can do today, that you can do this week, this month. Simplicity should be your short focus for long game success. Thanks for listening to this episode of the A to D from Addict to Disciple podcast. If you would like to join an online group or get one-on-one counseling to help you focus on simplicity in your recovery, please message me on the link in this podcast or by email at davidfromatod@gmail.com or go to my website, www.fromatod.org, and click on the contact page. You can also keep in touch with me and what we're doing in From A to D by following me on Instagram at David From A to D. Tune in Monday for our next episode, and as always, stay safe and stay strong.